Welcome to Diamond Mind Radio. If you are in search of a podcast that is committed to breaking through the barriers of trauma-related experiences while igniting the passion within, then look no further. Through shared life experiences, we are promoting empowerment, positive perspectives, self-growth, and development that encourage a strong mindset. I am your host, Jessica Dailey. I am a certified occupational therapy assistant, family and youth coordinator, photographer, mom of two, fire wife, and your new bestie. I am so excited you are here with me today. Enjoy the show. Hello and welcome. I am your host, Jessica Dailey, and this is episode 2. So in this episode, we are going to talk about mindset and personal goals. So the way I like to look at it is creating a blueprint. And what I mean by that is you are having this life map, okay? And in that life map, you're going to have goals, right? And your goals can be for every aspect of your life. So they can be personal goals, financial goals, fitness goals, travel goals, whatever that is important to you. They're especially important in the topic of mental health. So having personal goals is going to give you direction in where you are aiming to go, where you want to go, where you want to be. And that is the recipe for changing your mindset into a positive mindset. You're not always going to be positive. It's okay to be negative sometimes, but you really want to be able to redirect that negative mindset into a positive mindset in order for you to get through the things that you have been through and that you will be going through in the future. So, and I'll talk a little bit more about that a little later. So in episode 1, I shared that I am a survivor of sexual abuse. If you have not listened to episode 1, definitely check it out. So when I went to my first therapy appointment, oh my goodness, it was absolutely horrible. I left in tears. I sat in my car and I cried. It was horrible. You're reliving everything because you're telling someone you just met for the first time pretty much everything. That's how my session went. It was almost everything, and it was reliving it, and it was just awful. And I remember sitting in my car going, what the hell? Like, why am I putting myself through this? Why am I going to go back? And I just remember, it's like a war. It was like a war going on in my head, all this chaos happening. And another part of me is like, because you have to. And I felt like I had to, because of what I was going through. And I knew that if I did not continue therapy, I was going down a self-destructive road. And that was a bad path for me to be on because I was not handling the root cause of all of my issues. I was numbing. I was doing drugs to make myself happy. I was much happier. But of course that fades away and I'm not handling the root cause of my problems. I'm just numbing it. And relationship-wise, there were just so many things happening in my life at that moment that I knew it would only spiral and manifest into even more of an unhealthy life. And I did not want that. I had reasons why I wanted to be in therapy. And I wrote those reasons down. So when I wrote those reasons down, I was not intending to make goals for myself. They became my goals. They became extremely important to me because they were a part of who I wanted to be. That's what I saw in myself. I wanted to be a mom. That was one of my reasons to be in therapy. If I'm not mentally healthy, physically healthy, then I can't be a mom. I want to share something with you guys that I have not shared with anybody before. I don't believe I have told anybody. So here we go. I love kids. I absolutely love them. Love them, love them. I work with them. I have 2 of my own right now. When I was 11, my little sister was born. She was like my baby. She was adorable, and I dressed her up, and as a photographer, she was my first model, and I did my first photo shoot with her. She was just my little baby, my baby. I loved baby dolls. I had the water baby. I had the baby doll, like the 90s one where you put water on her face, like the temperature, like hot and cold, and like stars would show up, and she had like the 80s 90s like flip bang thing happening. She was like a rock and roll doll. I had every baby, the ones that crawl, everyone. But I was terrified to have one day of my own, and why I was terrified was embarrassing to me that I even thought what I'm about to say. I was so afraid that when I had my own baby that I would turn into a monster all of a sudden, like overnight, instantly, and I would hurt my own kids. I would do the same things that was done to me. I was horrified by just thinking that. But when I went through the healing process and I learned and educated myself, you know that I'm not going to do those things. I know that, like, even just thinking it, I was like, that's crazy. Why would I would never do that. But I was just so afraid that I would do that, if that makes any sense. It was just a fear of mine that something would make me do it. Like I would just become my biological father. And to say that out loud, it's okay now because I look at it differently. I have a different perspective, and I'll tell you why. Because I grew up in a dysfunctional household. I had a dysfunctional childhood. So to think something like that is normal. That's my norm. And I wouldn't expect my kids to think that because they're just kids and they shouldn't be thinking that way anyway. But I did when I was a kid. So you see what I mean? It's just different. I grew up in a different environment. So it's okay. It's okay to have those thoughts, but it's just being able to understand them and being able to redirect mindset. And that's when I say, like, mindset is key. Mindset's key into redirecting yourself into a healthier pattern of thinking. So you're not always going to have these thoughts that come in your mind that are like, everything's all peachy. It's okay. You're going to have some thoughts that come in there like, whoa, it's pretty unsettling. Don't really like that. What are you going to do with that thought, though? Think about it and then redirect it somewhere else. Dissect it a little bit. Like for me, thinking about that thought, like that I would hurt my own kids. Well, why am I thinking that? There's my why. And would I ever do something like that? So really thinking about it, and then now I'm okay with it. I have 2 kids and I love being a mom. This was my dream, was to be a mother. I couldn't ask for, and this is what life's about, is just, having a family and enjoying. That's what my life's about, and that's what I enjoy. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys, and that was kind of pretty big, so you guys get to hear it. So I also want to talk more about the power of mindset and how I came to realize that it's really important to not be stuck in that pity party. And when I'm saying that, like, your pity party of the trauma that you endured. And that all stems from going through the healing process. Because if you're not handling what you went through, it's always going to be there. I mean, it's always going to be there no matter what. Something happened to you, right? But you're taking that trauma that you endured and you are laying it all out. It's like there are these rocks in the road, right? And this is your path. If you don't handle all of those problems and your trauma and you keep, just pushing it aside and saying, oh no, that rock's fine. I'm passing it by. It'll just be behind me now. Well, that's not necessarily true. Those rocks will pop back up. You're going to come right back around on your path and you're going to trip up on them. It's happened to me. So trust me, it happens. And the difference is when you go through your healing process, and this is your own journey. So I'm just speaking from what I had experienced. And when you take those boulders and rocks and pebbles, all the trauma that you endured, and you take them by the hands and you look at it, you clean it, you dust it off, whatever, and put it on the side of the road. That's what you do. You clean it off, you pick it up, you move it, you just put it on the side of the road so you don't trip up anymore on it, so it doesn't get in your way. And that's the way I look at it, is that this is my path and I'm just going my path, and I don't want any more of those rocks to trip me up anymore. So I used to be like everything would just be this pity party, and it could be not related. My problem could be not related to my trauma whatsoever. But for some reason, I would always revert back to it. So it could be just, I had this horrible day at work, someone was mean to me, and now I'm thinking about my child abuse that I went through. And that's not healthy. And I could see that pattern. Like, why am I now upset about everything else? And it's because I wasn't handling my trauma. I wasn't handling what I had gone through. I kept pushing it aside, pushing it in. Did it even happen? Am I making this up? Is it even real? Just kept doing that to myself. It was like this constant war going on in my mind. It was extremely annoying. So when I was going through therapy, I was 17, and I remember coming home and saying to myself, I have a great idea. I'm going to now tell all of my friends what happened to me as a kid and share this with them. And I remember when I was telling a couple friends that I don't even talk to today, but I felt compelled at the time that they were my good friends and I need to call them. And I felt like I was giving a piece of myself away with every time I told someone about what my story, what I was going through and all this stuff. And I stopped doing that. But I realized that I was spreading my message for the wrong reasons, not for the right reasons, like I am today, to help people. And I was still not in my right mindset. I was still healing. And I realized that that time it was a scream for help. And I wasn't in a healthy mindset at all. So I remember going to another therapy session and listening to a story that we're watching this documentary, and I remember the speaker said that this is not who you are. And that gave me a shift in mindset. I just remember thinking, oh my goodness, this isn't who I am. I don't need to tell everybody my story. I don't need to explain myself. This is not who I am. I am not Jessica, the girl who was abused by her father. I am much more than that. And that was a shift. And when I say shift, I mean, I didn't just all of a sudden change my mindset into, okay, I'm healing. Now I'm all healed. It's a process. It's a journey. And I believe that we are always going through this journey. It's just you're at different levels. And at that time, that was my shift right there, was realizing that that the trauma that I went through didn't define who I was and who I am. So I want to hear what your goals are. What are your barriers? What is holding you back from living the life that you want to live? I want to hear all about it. Please email me or private message me. I would love to hear more about you. I have a new goal and I'm super excited to share it with you guys, and I am going to invite you on my journey of achieving this goal. So when I was 11 or 12, I can't remember, Target opened up for the first time in our city, and I was super excited. We went there as a family, and it was the 90s, and I remember seeing all this like awesome 90s clothing, which is funny because it's all come back now. Like I remember recently I went to Urban Outfitters and I'm like, what in the world? Like if I kept all of my clothes, I would be the coolest person ever right now. Like they had overalls in there, and they had the Tommy Hilfiger, like everything's divided in little sections, and they had this Tommy Hilfiger section that was like completely going crazy over because I had like everything there before. Like, do you remember those bathing suits and like had the Tommy Hilfiger like around, you know, it said Tommy Hilfiger around the waist, and it was like the bikini. I had that, and they just had everything. It's hilarious. And they have the bodysuits. Well, so that's my goal, is to be able to wear a bodysuit. It has nothing to do with my body image, and it has everything to do with what takes over my mindset when I look at a bodysuit. And I remember when I was at Target for that very first time with my family, and I saw the bodysuits, and I'm like, I want that. And I begged for one. I'm like, please, 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 can I have this? Even though I was too young to have a bodysuit, but I really wanted one. I remember my biological father whispered in my ear words that haunt me and that take over my mindset. He said, I'll get it for you if you let me unbutton it. We all know where those buttons are, those snaps are, and I said nothing, and we walked away. So every time I see those dang bodysuits, I'm like thinking of that, takes over my mindset. And I want one. I really want to wear one. They're really cute. It might look horrible on me. I haven't even tried one on. I don't know. But I want one. I want to try it on. I think it'll look cute. It might not, whatever. But it's my goal to try it on. So it may sound silly to other people, but it's my goal and it's what's important to me, and I'm going to do it. And I'm going to invite you guys on my journey of completing this goal. I will post pictures, and I will do a little podcast on it. I think my sisters are going to come with me, and we're going to make it a fun thing. So my plan is to attach new memories to this bodysuit. I'm a very visual person too. A fun fact real quick, I wanted to be a fashion designer for the longest time when I was a kid, and I even toured colleges as a teenager, but God had a different plan for me. So I need to attach a new memory to it, and I am going to reach this goal, and it's going to be super fun. So stay tuned, and that's my goal. And remember, a healthy mind is a key to a healthy life. And You are amazing.
It's been super exciting sharing with you today, and I hope you enjoyed our time together. There is so much more I have to share with you, and in order for me to do this, I need your help. Do me a huge favor and leave me a review right now. Like, right now. These reviews are so important. Your review provides us with the fuel necessary for us to grow and reach the masses. I can't wait to hear from you and what you guys think. I absolutely would also love to connect with you guys. You can find me at Diamond Mind Radio on Instagram and Facebook. And while you're at it, head on over to diamondmindradio.com. Don't miss a beat by signing up for our email list. I have some amazing freebies I'm working on for you, so you won't want to miss out. Thank you for tuning in, and again, welcome to the Diamond Mind community, where strong minds connect.